You're watching Straight Black Love Talk with your host, DC Radical One, the home of intelligent, mature relationship conversations.
All right. Before the straight black pride brothers and sisters, it's your brother DC Radical One and Sister Najee. I'll let Sister Najee unmute her own mic, but I know she is here.
Mambo, Habibi Fahodie, Straight Black Pride, brothers and sisters.
B48, sister. So tonight is interesting because this is the first time I remember, I don't know how long, that the women have beat the men to the stage. So I'm gonna have to send a message out, see where the men are. But before I do that, Sister Najee, how are you today?
Another day behind enemy lines. And so when you ask that question, so many topics come up. And we're probably about to get into it today. So I'll answer as we go.
All right, another day behind enemy lines. To quote Snoop Dogg, that's realer than real deal Holyfield. I forgot I was supposed to start off with the camera shows, but I saw so many people in. I was like, well, let us just get into it. So let me greet everybody that's here so far. Greetings to post break 1062, BB48, brother Elijah, Peace, Straight Black Pride, the ISP, who was hiding on her other account, even though that's that account name. That's cool. Just didn't know who that was. And Straight Black Pride, this is the Asha segment. So today, first of all, I need some music today. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And Sister Najee, you mind music?
You said, do I mind what?
Music.
Huh? I said, of course. That's no problem.
Oh, okay. Cool. And what else am I? Why do I feel like I'm missing something? Do I get the right crawl down the bottom? All right. Anyway, this SBL Talk with DC Radical One and Sister Najee. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're new. Send out a message to your friends that we are on, and we're going to get started shortly. And tonight's discussion is actually part 2, Taboo Topics in Black America. And we probably could have extended it around the world, but we're just going to do Black America. Part 1 was last week. If you didn't get a chance to watch part 1, you can watch that later tonight or tomorrow. I had something crazy happen today, but I'm not going to talk about it because it was crazy. That's literally the reason I'm not talking about it. But it's just one of those things where you like, so I just can't have a regular day today. You know? Like today was regular, it was normal, it was, real chill, and yeah, and then you just see something crazy and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm still in DC. Never mind. So let's get started with the pledge. Sister Najee, it's up to you. I can do it or you can do it. Let me know.
You can lead the way.
All right. Sante, the straight black oath. You can say it after me or not. The choice is yours. I pledge allegiance to my straight, black, and proud ancestors and the culture and tradition which they founded. I vow to practice those traditions of straight black love, family building, and nation building to the best of my ability, using all my life's energy, intelligence, and creativity. I also vow to do everything in my power to protect Black men, Black women, and especially Black children from sexual abuse, homosexuality, exploitation, and miseducation, as long as I am mentally, physically, and spiritually able. Lastly, I vow to fight against any force, physical foe, ideology, or philosophy that threatens the straight, black, and proud culture, regardless of origin. This I pledge in the name of my African ancestors and the divine creator. Ashe. Now, as you all know, every event that we do, this is how we start off. Every straight black pride event that we do. And in 2026, because we're almost there, we will be, provided we can find a venue, starting back up some of our straight black pride programs. So be on the lookout for that. I'll let you all know. Probably once the weather warms up, because right now, goodness, I'm cold all the time and it's not even cold yet. That's the scary part. But yeah, the lack of light, the cold, and everything. I realize now that personally, what do they call it? What they call it? Winter depression, or whatever they call it. I think most black people have that. But I know Sister Najee, I know how she is. Sister Najee, you got anything to add on the weather and or the oath?
Did you say on the weather?
Right. Yeah, I was speaking about having in essence winter weather fatigue, or whatever they call it. What they call it? Winter weather depression, or whatever whatever it is.
Seasonal. I know what you're talking about. Yes, the depression that you get from the sun being stolen from you midday. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I was just speaking on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean
that's all.
No, I don't have any comments.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Let's get to it. We talk about this every week, but the reason we talk about it, I guess you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk about this every time until I make the announcement of who my two wives are. That's what I'm gonna do. So until then, now y'all gonna say, well, DC, what if you only marry one woman? Then I'm gonna still, I don't know. I guess I just continue reading this. So until then,
we'll be hearing it for a long time. We need to hear it as often as we can. We should be hearing these words.
Thank you for your contribution, Sister Najee. The cultural importance of marriage in traditional African and traditional African American. It should say society. I'm gonna change that to society. Marriage was an expected part of adulthood. In many African societies, you were not considered an adult if you were not married. The family was considered the foundational institution of the society. There was no debate about the equality of men and women, as each had their jobs to do for the society. Now, let me stop right here and say this. Here is the problem, or one of the problems with the community right now, in America, especially. Right. If you listen to the women talk, the women know exactly what the men should be doing. Exactly, right? They got it down to a science. And to some degree, the men know what the women should be doing. Okay, cool. But you know what? The women, when asked what they should be doing in a relationship, there's a lot of confusion. And you ask the men, and they're not so much as confused as they just say, why should I do it if they're not going to do their job? So, and there is an aspect of what we need to be doing that the men never talk about. They talk about all this individual stuff in a relationship, but when it comes to the society, like dealing with our enemies, ain't nobody don't want to talk about that, right? So I just want to put that out there. And I can say this confidently. The vast majority of our people, men and women, are not doing their job based upon the conditions which we find ourselves in, the situation which we find ourselves, and what is currently taking place. Now, y'all can say, now, DC, what you mean? Well, this is what I mean.
I want to emphasize that to you. We are in a war.
That's what I mean. We're in a war, and we're not acting like it, especially as men, nor even as women. So occasionally I will be bringing up the ancestors, and they will talk to us to remind us what's going on. Sister Najee, do you like that drop?
Yes, indeed.
All right, thank you. Anyway, during enslavement, black men and black women would often escape to try and find their spouses and children, risking life and limb. Black people would buy their loved ones with money that they saved up working overtime to get money to buy their spouses and or children's freedom. You know, y'all know I bring that up. I bring that up because that's how much being together meant to us at one time. We have forgotten these things, and thus I bring them up. Until we get back to this type of feeling of importance of being together and supporting each other, whether it is your genetic family or a family that you build around your, let's say your conscious family, that, for lack of a better word. Until that takes place, we are going to continue to struggle. And the reality of the situation is, again, we're in a war. And I'm just be honest. If you refuse to fight back while you're in the war, you're definitely going to lose. That's all I'm going to say. So, next slide. Sister Najee, would you like to take this one?
Sure. The attack on the black family began in the coffle lines, where African men and women were separated. This continued in the slave dungeons like Elmina, and continued on the slave ships where men, women, and children were separated. Our enemies know that our strength as a people comes from the family, and it is the family that allows us to pass down our culture and traditions. Ancestral memories passed down preserve our natural survival instincts. Without this, we are sitting ducks for our enemies.
Yeah. One break in the chain that has occurred that I really noticed, I can't say recently, but I noticed, is that when people start having children younger, they can't pass down history down to the children because they simply haven't lived long enough. And so that kind of changes it changes a lot of things in the family, but it changes the family dynamic really between the parent and the child, but it also changes the dynamic of us passing down our stories, because things get lost in translation, and this passing down our stories is so important. And I didn't really realize it, I'll be honest, until I stayed with my grandmother, who has passed on to the ancestral realm. I stayed with her for, I think, like a year or two. I can't really remember. And it was very much, to use a Christian term, it's very much a blessing. There were a lot of things that I learned about her and the family and our sojourn here that I wouldn't have learned it under any other circumstance other than being around her and listening to her. Just plain and simple. Like, that's all I did. I was around her, she was talking, and I was listening. And I got those, it's funny, I got answers to questions that I didn't even know I had. And just understanding of things that I never would have gotten any other way. And my greatest regret, being completely honest, is not basically doing that with all the elders in my family as soon as I could, and documenting those things, not just the memory, but documenting them in some type of written format, and keeping that information. So but yeah, that the family, individual history, and sojourn is really important, and I think we're losing a lot of stuff. I don't know who it was, but somebody online was like, "We're losing recipes," and I was like, "Yeah, we all." I thought about it. I was like, you know what? It's weird, but he's right. We are losing recipes. Like we're losing recipes. We're losing family history. We're losing a lot of stuff. When they said it, I thought about it. I said, it's weird that I know for a fact, because my mother pulls it out during the holiday season. I know she has a recipe book. That recipe book been around as long as I can remember. She might have got that from her mother. I don't even know. I just know that as long as I can remember, my mother's had that recipe book. That thing ain't new. Like that, that thing might be as old as I am. I have no idea. But when I thought about it, I was like, I just have to make sure I get that. You know, if I'm lucky enough to have a daughter or something, be like, this was your grandmother's here. You know, they might be like, but we don't even eat meat. I ain't asked you that. Veganize it. You know what I'm saying? Make it happen. But yeah, Sister Najee, you have anything to add to that?
There's a lot going on in my background right now, so I can't even really put two.
Okay. All right. Anyway, let us get to our first slide with our taboo topics. Now, this one, oh yeah, this was, in fact, I forgot. This was one left over from last show. Sister Asha says we are definitely missing passing down oral tradition. It was such an integral part of our culture. Indeed. In fact, let me put that in. Definitely, sister. No question. Now, interestingly, that this comes up while the sisters are in here. So I'm gonna let y'all I would like y'all input on this. But I've pretty much heard women, just basically younger sisters, basically say this. And I didn't mean to put most, I meant to put many. So, you know, most, I hope not, but many Black women would rather be side chicks or OnlyFans models than be truly polygamous, because they don't want the responsibility of being a wife. Amen. Let's just be honest. There are women, I hear a lot of them, being the side chick, they don't mind it. They don't mind being, you know, the late night rendezvous for a man. They don't mind, you know, some of them even like the thrill of knowing that they're taking another woman's man. I've heard that before, you know. For years, brothers have been saying they got way more popular when they started wearing their wedding ring, right? And I'm talking about this ain't new. I'm talking about this 30 years ago. So, as far as the side chick thing, that is not it's not a taboo anymore. It's not something that women are against, from my observation, right? So unless a lot of women coming on the internet and telling lies, which, hey, people coming on the internet and lying, it wouldn't be the first time. I stand by this statement. Now, oh, well, I see why I said most now. Yeah, because now that I think about it, if it comes between like being a second wife or openly sharing your husband as opposed to being a side chick, yeah, I think most sisters would, if those are the options available. Postberg said these side chicks need to take Megan's advice and love a girl. I have no idea what she said in Love a Girl, so I don't know what advice she gave. But things have changed, at least I think, from back in the day where this, I mean, it wasn't even a term for a side chick. I forgot what. Yeah, they didn't have any non-derogatory terms for women that was sleeping with somebody else. Man, whatever term sisters had, it wasn't flattery. But side chick and side dude, because that's a thing too, makes it sound like makes it sound palatable, like it's an addition. Like you have your main dish, and in addition, you have your side dish over here, right? So, but from what I seen, oh my bad, and I forgot, or OnlyFans models, right? We're talking about primarily younger sisters, primarily, though not completely. If sisters have to choose between being, two of these three things, if they have to choose between that and actually being in a committed polygamous relationship where they're openly sharing a man, and with that open sharing of a man, they have to answer the question of why they're openly sharing a man, and they have to wear that proudly. I don't think there are a lot of women who are built for that in today's environment. I think they would much rather answer the question of why they have an OnlyFans account, because they'll say, because I get paid. And that'll be the end of it. And let's be honest, in this economy, nobody's even gonna say nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? Being completely honest, other than asking you what you do on your page. Well, other than that, in this economy, in this environment, just being completely honest, whatever people do to make money, people will pretty much justify it. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's where we at right now, socioeconomically. I should have known, sister. I should have say something, sister. Since you paid up for the advertisement, I'll put your comment up for free. Sister say side chicks, mistresses, concubine culture is basically coming from Black women polluted with white women feministic culture and its ideology as sexual liberation. It's the new day feminism. So the sister's saying that side chicken, mistress, and concubine, well, she didn't broke out. She didn't went biblical on y'all breaking out concubine. Oh man, it's part of the really small head ideology of sexual liberation. And man, don't even get me started on that. The whole sexual liberation thing is such a scam and a flim-flam on women. And the idea that you could go out and sow your royal oats like men and still be in a good state of mind and in good spiritual condition, I challenge that assertion. I don't believe that for 1 second. So, but yet that's what sisters are taught. And, we're really not supposed to talk about it, right? And like, let's be honest, we ain't supposed to talk about polygamy, period. We ain't supposed to talk bad about side chicks anymore. And we ain't supposed to talk about people doing OnlyFans, even though we know like lots of people doing OnlyFans. Like isn't it sisters I followed on Instagram, like I don't even know how, like 7, 8, 9 years ago. And they just was regular sisters that was attractive, and they would post their little stuff, and occasionally they would take some pictures. This was funny. A couple of them wasn't even taking a lot of pictures like that. And then whatever happened, and I guess they saw the money other people was making. They like, hold up. If Because I know how sisters think sometimes. I know how y'all competitive. Since these sisters were attractive, they probably was looking at some other women thinking, wait a minute, if this broad can make money, I know I can make more money than her because I look better than her. I already know. I already know. So hey, I just look at it like this, being completely honest. Part of it is we haven't, by we I mean the men, part of it is we haven't built no type of economy. Like we haven't economically, man. We haven't done anything. And now it's to the point where, being completely honest, most of the money in America, forget the black community, most of the money in America is being swept up and going to the richest people. So it's way harder now to build something, build economic infrastructure, when in reality, and I'm gonna talk about this one day, like I get maybe when all the holiday and all this stuff is over. America economically is in way worse shape than they admit, and it's to the point where white people are starting to talk about it. And so, if America is in bad shape economically, where literally there's like 7 or 10 companies, they say, that are pretty much propping up the economy and masking what's going on, right? I don't know if I talked about it yesterday, and maybe I did, but I'll talk about it a little bit here, and then I'll get back to the point. But the number of black businesses here in DC that have gone out of business since the pandemic is it's been something to see. And realistically, I don't see any black businesses, as far as like for black American people, that in DC that have stayed in business that aren't basically catering to some level of degeneracy, where there's smoking hookah, but you got, half 3/4 naked hookah girls, or you serve alcohol, which a lot of times that and hookah go together, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else, because I don't, are strip clubs still a thing? Like, do they still exist in the age of OnlyFans? Like, I have a hard time believing that brick and mortar strip club is doing good nowadays, but I really have no idea. But it's just the point that it's hard to criticize sisters and say they shouldn't be doing ABC and 1, 2, 3 when we don't bring anything collectively as a group of men, any type of economic infrastructure where you can hire a sister, right? Or let's say a sister that do hair or something like that. Who's in position to lease a place, a brick and mortar place, and put the sisters in there so they can do hair and make money or whatever? How many of us are in that position? So that's the bad part about it, as far as like the economics of it. But at the same time, as far as the women goes, one thing women got to realize is the internet is forever, and little Johnny coming home crying because somebody leaked your unclothed OnlyFans imagery. You're going to have a hard time explaining that to little Johnny and having him look at you the same way. So there's that's a double-edged sword, and I don't think a lot of women in general, not just sisters, look at it like that. I was on the internet and they were talking about, I don't know who this person was, but apparently some type of former adult entertainer. I can't even remember the name. And she was saying she wanted her stuff taken down off off the internet. And basically the guy was like, "Hey, you should have thought about that. The internet is forever." And I was, when I saw it, I was like, in today's environment, you making adult entertainment, like you going out to LA and filming and stuff and all that, like professional stuff. Like, lady, you knew what it was. Like, wait, come on, man. And you know good and well that you can't take that stuff off the internet without getting that special thing that that Batman had stole for Catwoman in the third Batman movie in with Dark Knight Rises or whatever. Post break says, "Oh yeah, strip clubs do. They low key brothels. Truly, it saddens me that I was not educated to create a job opening, economic opening for my lady who's looking for a better job." I mean, it really is something that has to be done collectively. But like I said, what has happened is the money in America is being swept up to the richest people. And we don't really see it, but that is affecting us. Not just that our money is going outside our community, but our money, the money we get, like people who get money in a lump sum, like real money, are in just certain areas, and they're not really out amongst the people in the community. So, like, okay, let's just take Jay-Z and Beyonce for example, right? Now, these people are allegedly billionaires. I don't know if they each are supposed to be a billionaire, but let's say they are, because I'm not 100% sure, being completely honest. Okay, let's say their combined worth is $2 billion or 2.5 or whatever. Okay, but first of all, everybody knows Jay-Z don't care about nobody. Like, that's been his reputation since he was a dude on the block. Right? And we don't really know anything about Beyonce other than what she shows publicly. But we don't really know anything about her. But here's what we do know. Those people aren't out amongst regular black people. They don't know what regular black people's lives are like. They're not now Jay-Z is a businessman, but these people aren't known for being financial wizards, and they have shown no desire to make any change in either the community they came from, whether it's Brooklyn or Houston, from what I've seen. So just using them as an example, right? Just using them as an example. Their money that they have, or their wealth that they've accumulated, or whatever it may be, is of no more consequence to the average black person than Elon Musk's money, because it's not going to trickle down to us. It's not going to help us do anything or build anything, or you know what I'm saying? Like we might as well not even know that their money exists, because it is of no consequence whatsoever. And that is just an example of why we have an inability to build anything. Brother KW Don says Jay-Z's net worth is 2.5 billion. Beyonce's 800 million allegedly. Okay, so that's even more. 3 billion. You can't do nothing to build no type of economic infrastructure, right? And then another thing is, speaking of that, then we're gonna get back to this. These people's money is oftentimes tied up with non-black people. So, like somebody like Oprah I talked about before, her money was tied up with some Jewish person in that industry. And then Kanye West already talked about having handlers. He was allegedly a billionaire, Then he said some things that people didn't like, and then he wasn't a billionaire. Like, half his money just or half his net worth, excuse me, just disappeared. BB Toomey to Brother Safo. So I say all that to say, even though we have individuals who are, I'll say, rich, right? They aren't in a position from a power standpoint to utilize that money to enrich the lives of Black people or to help build economic infrastructure for Black people. So therefore, it doesn't even matter what they have, right? And also, the interesting thing is that a vast majority now, way more of our people that have money are like in the entertainment field, whether it's, rapper, actor, and all that stuff, as opposed to as opposed to being businessmen. And when you find businessmen who are on the high end, so the high end now, talking about billionaires, I remember looking it up, and it wasn't a lot. And everyone that I could find, and I didn't do a deep dive, but everyone I could find doing surface level research, all of them their money was connected to some European, whether the European had brought them into the business or the European had invested in the business or whatever the case may be. So I did not see any independently wealthy Black people, and by independently I mean independent of European, Asian, Arab, not independent, as like they made themselves rich. That's what I'm saying. So that is an issue, and that's really what's handicapping us from being able to build economic infrastructure. So, which is how you end up with your women doing OnlyFans, and then the OnlyFans is connected to, is owned by a hat, and that hat he contributes to AIPAC, and then AIPAC goes out and spends that money to get Black congresspersons thrown out of Congress, get primary. So it just goes to show that everything we do is used against us. You know what I'm saying? Like the Miranda rights, anything you say can and will be used against you. Everything Black people do is used against us in and outside of the court of law. So I'm finished with that slide. I was really hoping that Sister Najee would come back in and interject with that.
And you done with the whole slide already?
No, just that. I mean, that point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you expanded even into Black buying power. You kind of skipped ahead to that one, but I wanted to make a point on, you said where the why is it that our men don't have the finance to be able to lease out or build, to be able to build a studio for the hairdresser or the woman that's an artist or a seamstress or whatever.
Sister Najee.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Continue doing what you're doing. Can you hold down the fort for a few minutes?
Yeah,
I gotta.
Okay.
Sante, I'll be back. But
okay.
Yeah, proceed.
Okay. Yeah, so I was mentioning for the economic piece, there are men that have the money to do these things, and you'll see the women brag about, he buys me the lashes, and he'll buy I don't even know the words for it, but basically let her start a business off of his money. And it would usually be like I said, a lash business, a hair business, or the skinny tea business, or like all of those kinds of things. And the issue is that the men who do have the money and the mind to empower women around them don't have the cultural direction to really be able to make a concrete decision. There's a lot of times where we'll make a decision with our money, and we might as well just throw it right on back to the people that gave it to us, because it wasn't really a concrete investment into our culture, into our society. And so, I just wanted to go back on that. There are men that try, but they often lack cultural direction. And so those efforts don't go far. So I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention on the topic of the OnlyFans things. There was something recently going viral of, I guess there's a famous OnlyFans model, I guess is what you would call them, that she was in front of about 100 college students doing a presentation. Now, why in the world OnlyFans model would be presenting to college students who pay good money to learn something of value for the world, to contribute to the world? I don't know how they spun that, but they were able to get her in there, and the kids are just eating it up, and the professor is going back and forth and making jokes, and like it's sickening. It's sickening to say the least. So the OnlyFans issue is really deep. And I wanted to mention as well, it's something like that. I just mentioned college students, but it goes Abibi Fahodier, brother, you got ripped off. He said entrepreneurship, and that's that's probably exactly what she was discussing. It probably was a business class too, discussing her OnlyFans business. But yeah, we're dealing with not just the college age girls, but the young little girls as well. I was in middle school many years ago, and there was a girl that, we're going around the classroom, everybody is explaining, well, when I grow up, I want to be this. When I grow up, I want to be that. And when she stood up, she declared to the classroom and to the Yorugu teacher in the front that when she grows up, she wants to be a stripper. That was her goals and aspirations in middle school. And it was because that's what her family did. I hate to say it, but it probably don't matter. Her name was China, and she had a sister who had one of those other type of names. What you got to say?
So I just came back, and all I heard was stripper in China. So I missed everything else. My apologies. I just had to take care of something real quick. But so give me just a basic rundown of what you said.
Sure. I was expressing that the OnlyFans issue goes down to the little girls as well. Because when I was a little girl in middle school, I remember one of my classmates standing up in front of the class and saying that when she grows up, she wants to be a stripper. So and I was expressing her name being China, and that whole naming the children after whatever drink you conceived them to, like that kind of mentality. She comes from that kind of line, and so it is only natural for her to aspire to make money, really getting paid to have white people fun. Like, oh, I'm getting paid to have
She's
fun.
lucky. And she lucky her name went Alizé then if she your
And
age.
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking about Alizé. Yeah, so it really is a deep seated issue that if you don't get in front of it as a parent, there's no reason for you to be assured that you can stop that from occurring. Because like you said, nobody's gonna blame you for starting the OnlyFans in this economy and getting paid to really do bare minimum. Why not? People go and sell blood to get as much money as they need to be like. Everybody understands that the dollar is difficult, especially nowadays, and so nobody is scolding that behavior anymore. So why would the children now turn around and make better decisions? It just don't work like that. We're teaching the children that it's okay to do, and actually it makes so much sense to do it that it don't make sense to do nothing else. You as a young girl, especially nowadays, it's all about the money. And you hear the music and it's like, if you're not out there taking advantage of little boys, if you're not out there taking advantage of men, so for their money, then you're stupid, because you're not on survival time as a woman. You're not out making money to survive. You're not using your body to survive. that makes you less than, like, you're not as intelligent because you're not, you're not maneuvering through the streets in a proper way as a woman. What were you about to say?
And no, I mean, it was scary what you said, because first you said using little boys, then you said using men. And I had that flashback to, um, remember I told you I was, I think I was catching the bus, and this sister was younger than me. She wasn't, like, I don't think she was a teenager, but she looked like she was in her early 20s. And she was talking about older men, and what they'll do for you if you, basically, if you put it on them, and you can get them to do this and that. And, she was saying, yeah, she was talking real, she was talking, yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And then when I turned around and looked, she looked at me like, yeah, I said it, and almost looked at me like, yeah, and you can get it too. I have you out here looking crazy. And I just turned back around. I'm like, oh, whatever she talking about, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I'm just staying over here, because it's just, for her to be on her phone talking like that loud. I'm just like, this what we doing now? Like, we just publicly advertising. You know what I'm saying? We outside.
That's what OnlyFans is. We are
Right.
publicly advertising.
I mean, she might as well just pass out her card and be like, yeah, here's a preview what you can get, old man, if you think you can hang. She might as well just did that. You know what I'm saying? At that point, it'd have been just like, it'd have been par for the course. I just was like, well, all right then. Yeah, I was just so shocked. I didn't even, literally all I could do was just turn back around. Like, let me turn it back around before she think I'm interested in buying her services or whatever the heck is going on over there. You know what I'm saying? That's one of those mind your business moments. So when you're saying, goodness gracious, we in worse shape than I thought. Yeah, let's just move on. You got anything else? You got anything else on this? Because we almost 1 hour in and we got one bullet point.
Seriously. I did have one more thing. Many women, I'm not gonna say most, but many women don't want the responsibility of being a wife, yes, but even more than that, many women don't want the responsibility of being a woman. A lot of women are upset, genuinely pissed off, because they're a woman, because they have to, hold the responsibility within society, within themselves. And the OnlyFans things is a symptom of that, because it's like taking advantage of, well, if I have to be a woman, then it's gonna work for me. If I'm gonna have these body parts, then I'm gonna make them work for me. I'm not gonna just have them and carry a burden without it, doing something for me. So I wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, that, you know what? I have seen that part, because I've seen like different podcasts, and the women are almost complaining that like there's always this comparison of what the men do it, and it's like, yeah, but just because the men do it, does that even make it right? Like, no one questions that. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, well, the men do it. And I'm like, okay, men do a lot of stuff that's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't volunteer to go get blown up in Iraq. The men do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't see nobody pushing, no women pushing them out the way. So what are we talking about right now? You know what I'm saying? When the men is old.
That's true in comparison, but I mean, even just I can remember pretty much almost every conversation that I have with a woman that's not African centered, when she talks about her cycle or pregnancy or, something like that, it's almost always negative. It's almost always this like dreadful experience of like, why did God make us have to deal with this? And I don't know if it's only the religious piece to it, but I think in general, women see being a woman as a burden. They see it as, oh, I'm a woman, so that means I'm the one that's gonna have to take care of the house. I'm the one that's gonna have to take care of the kids, and I don't want to take care of the kids. I want to do this instead. And so, the whole idea of being a woman in general is something that they're running away from, not necessarily because they're running towards being a man, but because they're running away from being a woman. But both do happen though.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm kind of left speechless with this, and I'm the one that came up here and came up with the point, but we delved so deep into it that it's like it's worse than I thought. Let me look at brother, you got ripped off because Sister Asha it basically responded to him without responding to him. He says it's a taboo topic is to say turning whores into housewives. What do you mean? Is it taboo to discuss it? He said, I know the NOI was successful with that, but are they still that effective? Absolutely not.
I was successful with turning whores into housewives. I don't know if we should. People gonna start looking out for them to do that now.
And no, that was the old Nation of Islam. I always tell people, I always say Elijah Muhammad is the only person I know that could do that. That's the only one. I ain't say Minister Farrakhan. Who did I say? I said Elijah Muhammad. He ain't here no more. So no, I don't give them credit for doing that. And I don't even know the philosophy of how that would be done. But Sister Asha, where's she at? She says, okay, there we go. She says, I have an ebook for women ready to retire from that life, from whole to goddess consciousness. So Sister Asha says she what'd you say, sister?
I said retire is crazy.
I'm just saying. So somebody said okay. Yeah, you know what? I've heard that sample so long, but I forgot the original song. They said OMG reminds me of that song Think About It by Lynn Collins, where she says we gotta use what we got to get what we want. And I didn't think it was referring to that, but maybe I was maybe I wasn't. Goodness gracious. Man, I don't even I'm kind of left speechless. DC doesn't come on the mic and be speechless to all of them, but is this way worse than I think? Like, have I just opened up something and it's way worse than I thought?
Yes.
As far as like the situation with our sisters and like I know horror culture. I mean, I've been talking about it in lectures for years, but it is. Let me ask this, right, Sister Najee and any sisters in it, is horror culture the base culture of Black women under 30 nowadays?
Yes. And I would go so far as to say it is specifically pushed within, of course we know the music, but even within the schools. My biggest issue when people complain about homeschooling is they talk about socialization. Oh, well, how are the kids going to socialize with other kids and da 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 da. But when you send your child to public school, you're signing up for that socialization. And why in the world would you want your enemy socialization? So now your child is amongst a whole bunch of other children that have most likely been, sexually violated and just in general are not being built the way that they're supposed to, surrounded by adults who are sexual violators and also are not, culturally centered at all whatsoever. So what kind of socialization you think is really festering in that kind of environment? I know for a fact that that's what's going on. These little girls are fast, not just because of the music. I mean, the music has a lot to do with it. I'm not gonna say it's not the music, but the issue of the little girls being fast and the little boys as well being, well too pressed on what's going on. I'm talking about this is not a high school, hormones issue. This is an issue that is, you got to deal with that in elementary school. You damn near in daycare have to be able to, separate the the children from hurting themselves. The issue is absolutely horrendous.
BB48, brother Tony. So what I'm gonna do, man, I'm gonna just be honest. I need to take a break. I just need to recollect myself, because apparently I just opened up something that I wasn't ready for. So since Sister Asha, let me put your book up again, because we might have some sisters watch this, and y'all can quietly get the book. Let's see.
Not quietly get the book. Look at the
yeah, just go over in the corner and get the book.
I implore you to retire. Some I think it was Brother You Got Ripped Off asked if it's is it possible to turn a whore into a housewife? I believe all things are possible through the black man. Absolutely. For the right man. And he had mentioned about the spiritual, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Physical, spiritual, and mental impact that woman has gone through. Is the man even going to be able to enjoy her? Like I said, I think all things are possible through the black man. Absolutely.
Well,
few and far between, but absolutely.
I'm gonna say this. I don't plan to take on that task.
Nobody asking.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, because let me be quick. I knew a brother back in the day, right? Years ago, I was a young man, and he had met this sister, and I forgot what she's supposed to be, like Jehovah's Witness or something. But whatever she was for those streets, right? And then he told me like some of her past or whatever, and I remember looking at him, I was like, I don't know about this one, bro. And then I got around her and just her behavior and stuff. I was like, man, this ain't it. And then he got her pregnant. I was like, come on, fam. You cannot. And I remember asking him later on, after, like years later, and he was like, man, I was trying to show and prove, you know what I'm saying, that I could, in essence, like clean her up, you know what I'm saying, make her civilized. And I just remember thinking to myself, yeah, you failed on that mission. You know what I'm saying? I'm like that. Oh man, it hurt my heart, because that was my brother. Like, we was tight, and I had been around that girl, and she had did some things she did some stuff that let me know that she wanted to break him away from us, from the 5%, from the gods and earths. And she was willing to do anything, including she would have slept with me behind his back and then told him in order to break him from our collective, from our group. That's like, I know how scandalous women can be, because I seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I experienced it. Man, women will. This OG back in the day, man, told me something. This has been like 25 years ago. He said, listen, let me tell you something. Right? Yeah, actually, he didn't just tell me, he told the whole room at the time. He said, it ain't nothing a woman won't do to you or for you. Right? And everybody looked at him. He's like, I'm gonna say it again. I was like, wait a minute. He said, y'all heard what I said? Ain't nothing a woman won't do to you or for you. And y'all better remember that. And I was just like, well, all right then. And as we see, 25 years later, I have not forgotten. So yeah. So with that, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. I'm your host, DC Radical One, along with Sister Najee. You can follow me on Instagram at DC.Radical1, on Twitter at DC_Radical_ONE, on OTW2 at DC Radical One. If you are enjoying this conversation, you can donate via Cashapp at $ DC Radical One, or you can donate via Zelle at DC.Radical_1 at protonmail.com. So if you don't have PayPal, you can now donate via Zelle. And Sister Najee is causing trouble, saying Jehovah's Witness going door to door with her services. Hey, man, listen. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're going to take just a quick break and going to look at these messages from Sister Asha and Brother Elijah.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Elijah Lewis. I'm coming from you at the Springfield Town Center in Springfield, Virginia for the Fall Expo. But I want to take a minute to tell you about my book, Your Jewels Are in Your Journey, Life Lessons to Reach Your Optimal Self. This book is about giving us the tools we need to be our optimal self as we go about our journey. I tell everybody is that we're all on a journey, so on that journey we learn that life lessons are jewels, the people that we connect with to be better and inspire us along the way are jewels, and above all, you find out that you yourself are a jewel. Because if you don't know who you are, it's hard to know where you're going. So if you're interested in learning more about me and my book or my motivational speaking, I speak on topics such as freedom from life's addictions, the reality of your vision, and many other topics. So if you want more information, go to my website, www.elijahlewis.org. You can get your copies, book me for motivational speaking, and above all, see where the journey takes you. And at the end of the day, may you find many jewels on your journey and continue to be the jewel that you are. Thank you.
Straight Black Pride family. This is Asha Sekhmet, and I am so grateful to be seeing my brother Ayo Kimathi running for the state senator position for the 41st district. This is exciting news because my personal testimonial is that Irritated Genie, he has sparked my level of consciousness, awareness, and getting connected to the deeper parts of my roots, my ancestry, and my culture. I would not be where I am today if it was not for the work that Brother Ayo Kimathi has done for our community. We always talk about protect Black women and children. Well, here's our opportunity. Donate for the brother. Also share and connect with other people to share why it's so important that we have strong Black men as representative in our leadership who have done the work, who have been doing this work and continue to dedicate their life to helping us and protecting us. Let people know, advocate for Brother Ayo Kimathi. I am endlessly grateful for the work that he has done and the service that he has put into our community. Now, I also want to mention that, of course, we align in the Mahi community with the values and principles of the Straight Black Pride movement. We represent a community that goes to divine feminine and divine masculine harmonization. We talk about ancient indigenous practices going back to our original culture. That includes family practices like polygamy, sharing with our sisters, our husband, and making sure that our children are taken care of. Also, Tantra. These are indigenous sacred intimacy practices between man and woman. We're going back to our original culture. If you want to learn more about the Mahi community life system, then you can connect with me on ashasekhmet.com. You can learn more about this ancient wisdom and sacred energy practices at our upcoming event, New Earth Consciousness, that is going to be Wednesdays, November the 12th, 19th, and 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can RSVP on my website. That is, I am Asha Sekhmet on all social media platforms. And we have a live Q&A this Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can come and ask questions so that you can begin your initiations and learning back to connect on a soul level who you were really meant to be. And special shout out to my brother, DC. I absolutely love and commend you for all the work and the service that you do for our community.
I feel disconnected. every word you speak can retune your soil. When you remap your soil, you remap your world.
Breathe your way home.
All right, brothers and sisters, we are back, and oh, my bad. Well, anyway, we are back, and let's just get back to this next slide because we bypassed. We kind of went past our time. So, Black people. Have I lost my music? My bad. I lost my banner. I lost everything. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Now, Black people have Indian in their family for the same reason that they have white blood in them. So, this is something that's not talked about. And I'm trying to find the clip of Don Cheadle. I don't know if y'all seen it, but Don Cheadle's family was owned not by white people, but by, I believe, Cherokees. And I'm not saying people don't have Indian in their blood, but similarly, like all Black people claim this and have for a while. But we never talk about what possibly happened, right? Because there's a lot of different things that took place. So, for example, there is there's like the Seminoles, who consisted of a quote unquote Native American tribe and a group of Black people that were here who basically were West African explorers, and then on top of that, a group of enslaved Black people that escaped from enslavement, right, in that Florida region. That made up the Seminole tribe. Then they were part of the Trail of Tears and were marched out to Oklahoma, right? This is documented history that we have. But a lot of people don't claim that. That's not what they claim, right? I remember a brother was doing research and he saw people claiming tribes that were like in Washington and Idaho and stuff like that. And he was like, man, people that were living, like, say they living in Alabama claiming a tribe that was native to Idaho. I'm like, come on, man, you better do some more research. Like, what you talk about is it's ridiculous. But we're not supposed to question these things because somebody's grandmother told them X, Y, and Z. And I'm gonna tell you what's being covered up oftentimes. I'm just gonna irritate people right now. You know what's being covered up oftentimes? Like, if you look at that old picture and you see that weird looking person with this light skin with long hair, what's being covered up many times is violation by the slave master. And many times that quote unquote Indian relative is a mulatto. And we don't like to talk about that because, of course, it's painful. And so, but it's something that we got to address. And like, okay, if you're going to claim that, do the research in it, go through the process of documenting it, and tell the whole truth to the children. Brother, you got ripped off says my wife was raised on that lie, and I told her that was a lie. She found out her great grandmother was part German, not native. See what listen, y'all be thinking I be making up stuff. You know what I'm saying? Me and brother, you got ripped off. We ain't never talked about this. But this is what I'm saying. Part of it, a big part of it, and one, of course, is shame from the violation. And part of it is not trying to be anything except being African. That's another part of it. And so I just wanted to address that because I'm so tired of this Indian narrative, which has fed into the we was already here narrative and so forth and so on. And people want to be everything except African. And so they put out this misinformation. And I'm saying, I'm not challenging you. I'm saying, bring me the documentation. That's what I'm saying. And you're going to like, well, who are you to tell me to bring you the documentation? I'm like, well, you're going to tell your children that stuff. Bring them the documentation. Don't be just sitting around telling lies. You know what I'm saying? Can I document exactly where in Africa I came from? Absolutely not. But I can go far back and tell you where my great grandfather was a sharecropper, and thus where his father was enslaved. I can tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, let's keep it 100 here. Let's deal with the ugly truth, because let's be honest, the truth is going to be ugly either way. Enslavement is ugly. Being conquered is ugly. People being violated is ugly. So it's no lie that we make up is going to make up for the fact that I don't care if you claim you Native American or you African or whatever. Guess what? And when the physical battle took place, you lost. You know how I know you lost? Because you're standing right here, right now. If you had a won, guess what? All of this would be black. Urugu would be back in Europe, and we would be celebrating, and we would probably have divided up the country with the so-called Native Americans. But guess what? That didn't happen. They on a reservation. We were in chains, and now we still complaining about racism while claiming that we ain't African, while African people are actually fighting for their freedom and going out here and putting in work and banging on the beast, as some people used to say, right? So let's keep it 100. If we keeping score right now, and we keep score between the Native American, the people that they claim that they Native American, and the African, and we saying who's putting in work, who's getting bodies, who is fighting for their liberation. It is the Africans, specifically Mr. Chiani, Mr. Goita, and Mr. Traore, putting in work, putting people in the dirt right now, fighting for liberation and sovereignty, and people who claiming that they're Indian ain't got no bodies on their record. And that's all I'm saying. And in fact, I'm gonna bring where Brother Malcolm at? I'm gonna bring Brother Malcolm to the witness stand. Brother Malcolm, would you please tell them what's going on, please?
We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America.
Now, so y'all go argue with Minister Malcolm, right? So that's all I got to say on that. Sister Nadia, you can interject.
Will do. I'm trying to figure out what a Cablinasian is. I had to go look that up real quick. I have a lot to say on this. The first thing I'll say is it's very valid that you need to at the very least be able to tell your children the truth. So you tell yourself whatever, but you passing this information down and expecting for them to uphold and pass it on to their children, you should be able to prove to them who they are. That's just fair to tell them the truth. It's just the fairness of the situation. If you haven't put in the work to be able to then now tell your children the efforts of the research that you put into your family line, then you really have no business arguing with anybody about anything. Just, flat out. I'm in the middle of the argument because I think it's important for justice to prevail, period. There was people that were on this land, and I'm talking specifically about the Americas, North, Central, South. There was people that were on this land that were massacred in the same way that people on our land were massacred. Same enemy, the same general lifestyle of liberty, of life. And then death, people came to the land, and like I said, and people were massacred. And so the conversation tends to bother me because I feel like there's a lot of disrespect, unfortunately, on both sides. So on the one side, I say pretty much 70% of people that make the argument of, I'm not African, I'm Indian, I'll be liberal and say 60%. Let's say 60% of people are just saying that because they've been trained to not be African. It's anything but African. They'll be Asian before they would ever be African. They'll go learn Korean pop dances. They'll learn Japanese to watch the shows. Like, they would much rather be Asian or anything, for real, as long as they're not African.
To your point, sister, I saw somebody on the internet say they would rather be an N-word than be African. So that shows it right there.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That now, because you said that, I'm gonna put my number back up to 70%. Because you just reminded me how deep the ignorance actually is. The waters are deep. And so it probably is about 70%, if not more. That's a level of disrespect that leaves there's no conversation that you can have with somebody like that, because you, as a self-loving person, are not going to be able to translate for them any kind of truth.
You don't need a debate. You don't need a filibuster.
Oh, you know what? There's another one that you need to add, now that I think about it.
My bad. Did you press that, or did I press that?
I mean, it went in line, so I figured you did it. I didn't press that.
Oh no, no, that was a mistake. But I guess the ancestors, I guess Brother Malcolm was like, hold up, I ain't finished talking. But no, go ahead.
But no, to that point though, if we want to add another one, when we talk about debate, we have to have Nana John Henry Clark saying that he does not debate. He's only talking, debate is for the peers, for the educators.
Oh yeah. I used to say that a lot, and I forgot. Yeah, I don't have that one. This is the one I got. Speaking, because it kind of goes in line with what you're saying. Hold on.
I know. That's what.
Damn it! If you want a friend, look in the mirror.
For real, seriously. And the friend. I mean, that's a little bit different than identity. Well, because a friend is the kind of people that are like what we would call pick-me's, where it's like I just want the white people to like me. I just want the random Indian coworker to know that I'm not like regular black people. That's more so the looking for the friend aspect. But the people that feel like they would rather be anything but African, that's identity crisis. That's kind of a separate thing. Now, what I was saying is disrespect on both sides, because I feel like the Africans of the United States of America, and I'm talking about what people would call, the I forget how they say it, but the people that have been here since we were taken, the people that can go back through their line and say, I know for a fact that, we were down South Virginia and my people were enslaved or sharecroppers or whatever it may be. Those people of that percentage fail to continuously calculate their numbers. And when I say that, I mean that I think because Africans in America are so important to the movement worldwide, we tend to forget that the Africans that were brought to this specific land that we now call the United States of America is actually very small percentage. Very small percentage. The Africans that were taken from the continent in mass were dropped off throughout the rest of the Americas. And then those kinds of conversations get lost in the sauce. You brought up the Seminole, you brought up what I guess you're talking about, like the Olmecs and these other indigenous to the Americas groups, civilizations that we feel good about claiming them, because it's like, okay, I can pretty much draw a direct line to Africa if I claim Seminole or if I claim Olmec. Okay, that feels good. But there are also the people like the Garifuna people who know for a fact, like their history is very well preserved. They are both African and the indigenous people. Whether you say Taino or whatever, Taino is a word that just means family. And so they're Taino and African, and they know that for a fact. And it wasn't a thing of rape. It wasn't a thing. It was a thing of, there's a crisis going on. Like I said, there is a people out here that are white skinned and they talk chaotically. They babbling on, and they out here just killing and pillaging, and it's a problem. And so it's natural to now look around and see that this is a person that I already know, because the African people are already, traveling throughout the world, which is why everywhere is settled on, because we went and settled everywhere around the world. It's not far-fetched to then be like, okay, well, we need to work together against this specific issue. That doesn't mean that I'm going to throw away the fact that I'm an African, and I'm not asking you to throw away the fact that you speak a whole different language and have a whole different setup in these lands. Is a sense of respect that I feel has been lost. Now, we talk, you said about the indigenous peoples, and I'm using indigenous because that's the blanketed term that makes sense no matter how it's used. The indigenous peoples of this land, and just across the lands, across all of Catiopa, the indigenous people putting in work, you would have to say, of course, the AES, Baba Goita and Baba Traore, but there's people putting in work in other places when it comes to standing up against the DJEW problem. That specific problem is something that throughout the Americas, we can see some backbone, we can see some upright men, regardless of the fact that they're not specifically African. Yes, you had
Well,
something.
Mr. Maduro had, I put the clip up on
Mhm.
Instagram. Mr. Maduro was very clear about who the problem was.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The Colombian president, he's been saying a lot recent and sticking
yeah,
up
just
for
saw
Venezuela.
that. I just saw that. I haven't been able to post. Well, all of Mexico recognizes they have a problem. Apparently,
What is it? Puta Judea. There's an issue.
Yeah.
And we're starting now.
Yeah.
The Mexico thing is muddled. I don't get too much into the Mexicans, but when you go further down the line, you have a more pure understanding of history, and so the respect is there. Even in certain places in Mexico, they know for a fact, oh yes, we're descendants of African. We were specifically African people that we come from. And when we open up the door to, it wasn't just the United States of America, we start to really even deeper feel confident in the truth of we're African people all the way around. So I feel like when I have a little bit of a bone to pick with the way that it was worded, and the conversation in general is very exciting for me, which is why, my whole website is based off of that, realkkkkk.com. Go ahead and check it out. But yeah, Venezuela putting in work against evil, and we need to and we do already, because you saw Madura and Captain Traore together. And I'm sure that they talked about how they're going to rectify those problems, Pamoja, together.
All right, sister. Well, you said you had a lot to say, and I'm glad you added to the discourse. I'm not even going to go any deeper than I've said what I had to say about it. I was going to bring up a clip, but I'm like, nope, we haven't even passed the first slide. That's why I only made 2, but apparently we're not going to get past this one. You have anything else to add till we get to the next point?
We kind of already did Black Buying Power in depth, so I don't think we would have to do that. But I am excited to talk on the last one if we can skip over to it.
Okay, well you go ahead and take charge of that one, and I'll be here listening.
Many Black children are functionally illiterate because many Black parents don't like or value their children. That sounds so harsh, but honestly, that does not even really hit on how bad the issue is. It's not just about being functionally illiterate, like you can't read. It's you are functionally incapable of humaning. You don't have the ability to do anything. You having issues with, like, you couldn't cook a meal for yourself. You wouldn't be able to go and in any kind of way survive. Like I was saying earlier, people talk about socialization. It's like, okay, but if you look at the numbers when they talk about the new generations going into the workforce, they're having issues with being able to look people in the eye, being able to, not be a whiner. Like just because you're not having a good day doesn't mean that you get to call off of work. Like you're not. There's so many core issues with people's character that come out of the fact that their parents and their community at large have failed them ultimately. So it's what I'm trying to say is illiterate, yes, reading, but illiterate even to life in general. And I think it is about the parents not liking them. Like I said, there's a lot of women that don't want the responsibility of being women, and so they don't want the responsibility of being a nurturer. They don't like children, and they're excited to talk about how they don't like children, but they'll also be the first ones in line trying to get child support because that's all they see children as. Is just, the ability I can get, this money from this man, and then I can post them, cute pictures with my child on Facebook and keep it pushing and forget feeding them, forget making sure that, they got the proper clothes on their back and they're able to maneuver in this world and survive. Forget all of that. Is how a lot of these parents feel. And you can see it clearly, and the community does nothing about it. And so the parents who act like this feel empowered to continue on with this behavior. Yes, Brother DC.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick. I don't say this often, but it is what I'm about to say is true. It is sincere. I even if like a sister, quote unquote single mother, I have maybe even more so in this instance, I have the utmost respect for sisters who go against the grain and try to teach their children on their own and give their children natural foods and to breastfeed and basically try to raise their children in the best possible manner, when most of the time that means you going not only but going against the grain for your family, where they're gonna be asking you questions, why are you doing that and this and that and so forth, so on. So I'm not gonna lie, I have the utmost respect for those sisters that are rearing children, as Baba Baruti says, instead of just raising them. And so I just like to send a shout out to those sisters, because I'm gonna be honest, I see so much bad parenting and bad mothering that when you see good mothering, it's like on a whole different level. It's like it's a totally different thing. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. If you're a mama that is raising free children and consciously rearing your children, not only are you few and far between, but you really have to, like, yes, the kudos and the flowers to you, but you really have to take the time to meditate on the fact that you are raising you're definitely raising the leaders of tomorrow, but your leaders of tomorrow might be the only people left on earth, because a lot of these children not going to survive. And I hate to, be the crypt keeper, but like, seriously, a lot of people aren't going to survive. And so, of course, if your parents don't make it, who's to say that you will? If you're not raising a child that can recognize fruits and vegetables are something that they can eat if found in nature, your child only knows how to recognize plastic bags as food, they're not going to make it. Those children aren't going to make it. So yes, you were right to say the parents don't value the children, because they don't even value them enough to rear them up to survive. They don't even care about their survival. Now I kind of want to add to that, because the parents are the front line to all of this. So there's a saying that say, "Oh, everybody thinks their puppy is the cutest." Like every parent feels like their baby is the best baby, and whatever. Which, to each his own. But that is a necessary component to civilization. I need to value my child over everything in the world, so that I can protect them, so that I can make sure that my line goes on. We have parents that don't do that, and because they don't do that, the adults around that are, either predatory or just not good people. There's some people that are specifically predators, but there's other people that just aren't good people. For example, this whole viral situation going on in Chicago, where there was a mom that was trying to walk her 2 children from school, and she got attacked by some of the middle schoolers. Some of I guess these same children had been bullying her son for months, and finally it tipped over, and they beat up the son, and they beat up the mother too. This is in Chicago public schools. Okay, we talk about all those parents are terrible and the children are terrible, whatever. But let's take a step back. Also in the news with Chicago public schools, they getting audited because they spending millions of dollars to just travel. They going to Dubai with your children's education funds. And so at a certain point, it becomes...
Can I interject? And Dubai is problematic because of their connection to what's going on, the murders in Darfur and Sudan, right?
Yes, of course. So, the issue, yes, it's an issue of parenting, but it's an issue of community. I, as a parent, have to be ready to fight everybody now, because the community at large is not looking to protect my child. The community at large does not value my child. The school system don't value my child, because they would rather spend those dollars to travel and have fun, as opposed to making sure that my child has proper education. The same people that couldn't find teachers for the longest time got the money to go explore the world.
Can I bring something from the ancestors that I think you appreciate?
Please do.
Black people still don't get it.
That's my favorite one too. That's my favorite one, because it's the truth. It's that we just don't see it. We just don't see it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna share. I think I told you this already, but I have a sister that told me she was talking with another mom. So there's 2 moms talking to each other, They're not friends, but just, mom to mom. And she was describing like, man, we got to clean up these streets. We got these people selling drugs to the children. That's a problem. And the other mom said, man, F these kids. Let the kids be on the drugs. That's less competition for my child. Huh? What? What kind of logic is that?
You know what, sister? I got to play this again. Hold on.
Black people still don't get it.
You have it in your mind that it's okay for the environment to not be safe for children because those children will get trapped and then funneled into the numerous systems out to steal our children from us. Let those children fall through the cracks so that my child can thrive through what exactly? You want your child to be able to get a job? That's what it is. You ready to slap all these other children off the mountainside so that your child can reach the top of what? This system? That's what you pressed on? That made me sick to my stomach to hear such a thing. The thought process. You as a like what I said earlier, women don't want the responsibility of being a woman. You as a woman gonna say some foul mess like that. You can't be trusted with children, and now I damn near gotta take your child from you. Because why would you say something like that?
You can't be trusted with anyone because that's some of the most despicable things I've ever heard uttered by a black woman. Because they don't understand this part. Hold on.
I want to emphasize that to you. We are in a war. I want to emphasize that to you. We are in a war.
I had to play that twice because when you're in a war, intentionally depleting your own forces doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Goodness gracious.
But that just goes to show the character is the problem. The character of the person that is at the front lines of the war, ready to pick up the children and use them as a shield.
Absolutely. Bob Rudy talks about that all the time, or he used to.
He still do. So yes, not valuing the children, not liking the children. Now that's something that goes into the issue of if you don't properly parent, then it is very likely that you're not going to like the experience of dealing with your child because you didn't go through the process of making them a good person. I'm always strong on like whining. Why are we whining? Why are we crying? Why are we, acting in this way? This is not conducive to a harmonious household to have these, these crying noises and these whining noises and hey, that's mine. And like those little things that should be dealt with early on, they should be dealt with early on. If you don't deal with them early on, they're going to stay within your child. And now your 10-year-old acting in this exact same way, you're not going to like them. You're not going to like your child if you didn't go through the process of parenting them. Because now your child is really no longer your child. Your child has used the foreign culture, if you even want to call it a culture. They've used the foreign Yorugu menticidal mentality of everything that's going on and downloaded it all. Because remember, our children are sponges. They're picking up on everything much faster than we even have the capacity to know. You don't even know how many curse words your child actually just downloaded listening to the music. You don't know how much of the song they actually were able to comprehend, or how much of it they've taken in and now will, in later years start to implement, because in their functional years, their developmental years, they were able to take in all of the nonsense that you gave.
And sister, I can attest to that just from the fact that I can remember lyrics from songs like Move the Crowd, which is one of my favorite videos. and that was at this point almost 40 years ago. So not only your children download it, but it sticks with them forever. You know, in your subconscious mind.
So I think Baba Baruti also speaks on spoilage. You spoil your children, you can't turn around and then be like, oh, you got a bad attitude. It's like, well, yeah, you have not only enabled this attitude within me, you molded it. You really created it. So yeah, I talk about that all day. The issue with children and the parents. And
no, go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Nah, we can't talk about it all day. It's 1:45. We still on the first slide. An hour is into it, and we're on the first slide.
I have accepted the fact that we're not going to finish all the slides. I've accepted that fact. So, but yeah, let us. Are we? Yeah, we finally finished with this slide. So, this is. You want to read that one?
Oh my god, man. Okay, yeah, nah, I want to do this one. A significant percentage of Black people would volunteer for slavery if they were guaranteed to have relations with white folks. The percentage, I wonder, when we look at people that, Black people that grew up in like middle America and they never really had other Black people, so they have all of these identity issues and things like that. That's a good percentage of people, Black people that grow up in the quote unquote PWI and the primarily white institutions. There's a lot of African Americans that grew up around only white people. And so the idea of not being around white people scares them.
You know what I'm getting ready to say, right?
What's that?
I'm getting ready to refer them to Dr. Clark.
Damn it, if you want a friend, look in the mirror.
Right.
Damn it, if you want a friend, look in the mirror.
That's my response to those people. But no, you are correct. So continue.
I mean, it's bad because you're saying volunteer for slavery. So that means I'm not even really economically compensated for my interactions with you. I'm just doing it for the vibes, being around, and I do think that there's a lot of people that have it in their mind that they're doing this interaction with white people because ultimately that's going to get them through doors that will eventually lead to freedom. I think a lot of us have been telling ourselves that for generations now. You got to go into this place and deal with these folk. You do it for a couple of years and then you'll get promoted and then you can help the rest of us get in. Like, we have been systemically trying to put ourselves in their places so that we can survive. And I do understand and I respect that struggle. But at a certain point, we have to be honest with ourselves and be like, okay, did you get lost? When's the last time that you checked in with progress of the mission? Because really, if you checked in with the progress of the mission, especially we talk about the East Coast, and I don't know about the West Coast, but I can talk about the East Coast, we got enough money as a Black community. We have more than enough money to be able to, all right, we don't gotta deal with white people no more. I don't gotta do the sit-ins no more. Like, we good now, truthfully. But we done got so caught up thinking that we doing something that we can't even work together anymore. We would rather be around the white people because we're scared that if we go back around Black people gonna be like, oh, you look comfortable. And then now we're going to, and you're going to have to share with other Black people. Like, it's a lot of issues that come around with that. And, the issue of gay for pay, people that will turn themselves off and turn on menticide so that they can receive white man paperwork or white presidents on bills. Gay for pay. So I'm now going to pretend to be gay, and this is a real thing that people do. I was just there's a brother in Tanzania that was just mentioning this. So this is not just United States of America where this is happening. Men are choosing to perform as gay so that they can be in spaces where they'll be able to make money. That's a terrible thing to have to do. You on the continent doing something like this.
I don't have the clip, but I'm going to pretend to be Dr. Khaled, bending over and giving evil an opening.
Yeah, bending over to give evil an opening. You know, and it's unfortunate because the youth now, like we were talking about with the OnlyFans things, and the little girls looking up and you know, children are sponges. They're able to put things together. Oh, okay. If I wear clothes that are revealing and I move in a certain way and I act in a certain way, that's all I have to do to get paid for the rest of life. I figured it out at 8. I'm smart enough to figure out that I just got to move like this and act like this, and men will pay me. Well,
Here's what's scary is that if they can't figure it out, their mother gonna be playing Cardi B in the house, and Cardi B is gonna be saying,
He's gonna teach it to him. Right.
I fornicate with him, and then I get some money, and they gonna be like, "Oh, that's how it works." Okay,
that's how it works, right? I didn't even have to really right. So if your child has an anyway, so the girls have that aspect of it, but the young boys have the opposite. The young boys are given, oh, I need to act soft, I need to act flamboyant, I need to act like a girl in order to receive compensation and whatever that may be. So it might be financially, you get more opportunities because you don't offend white people as much. You could be, a big black man, but if you move your voice in a certain way and, act in a certain way, you will be invited to doors that...
To your point, I'm going to give you a perfect example of somebody who people don't really talk about, but his mother said it. Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille's mother said that his desire was to be liked by people. And so you see him, I've seen him over the years play the buffoon, and then next thing you know, he putting on a wig and a dress, singing Beyonce or whatever. That dude is 7'1", 300 pounds, but he felt the need to shrink himself down into some type of effeminate transgender for the laughs and jokes of the European. So that's a prime example of what you're talking about.
And the white people eat it up. They eat it up. They love to have it. They love to have it. They love to show it off because it's like, oh, look, we were able to, twist and turn the mind so much so that they perform it for us, even though we the ones behind their back, stabbing them up. And because the white people eat it up and love it, they'll tell you in your face, like, oh, we love to have you around. Let me give you some more bonuses. And so you thinking that they're your friends. But they're not. You have anything else to add for that one?
Say that again?
So you have anything else to add for that one?
Well, no, I was actually going to tell you what the inspiration was for it. So I was on Instagram. I need to get off that explore page, man. But that explore page is going to take you somewhere. But I was on the explore page, and there was a sister on there, a black woman, natural hair, whatever, moderately attractive. And she says to black people, or maybe black men, I can't remember, I'm a 7. But to the colonizer, like she said, the colonizer, I'm a 10 and they love me or something like that. And then her white boyfriend appears and she jumps in his arms. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, she was signing up for enslavement, because the fact that you call him the colonizer and you still jumping in his arms and letting him break your back tell us everything we need to know.
I mean, that's the couples, the interracial couples on Halloween that'll dress up like Massa and the enslaved African.
Yeah, no, she literally said that he has a slave fetish.
Right.
Slave fetish.
Yes.
Yeah, she literally said that, and I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, she will volunteer, like she just said it. She'll volunteer so she can fornicate with Yorugu, and I'm just like, and it's not just the women. There are men who, um, what's the name? Childish Gambino, whatever his real name is. He said he was with his white woman, and she called him the N word, and he was turned on. So again, this ain't no gender thing. This goes both ways.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that because that is what inspired it. I was trying to stay on. Well, let me say this real quick because we in the end of the second hour. This is SBL Talk with DC Radical One and Sister Najee. You can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, on Twitter at dc_radical_one, on OTW2 Black Home Platform at DC Radical One. If you're enjoying this conversation or finding it enlightening, you can donate via Cashapp $DC Radical One. And you can email me at dc.radical_one at protonmail.com. Like you have show suggestions or ideas or anything like that. Also, you can donate via Zelle at the same dc.radical_one at protonmail.com. Or if you would like to purchase one of the lost tape sets, you can email me as well. And Sister Najee, let them know where they can contact you.
On Instagram and Rumble and Twitch, you can find me at Nefer Najee, not for real Najee, NFRNAJ. And my Cash App is $Nefer Najee, NEFER Najee, NAJAI. On my website, realkkkkk.com.
All right, sister. So we already 2 hours in. We dealt with the parenting issue. We already did that. You covered that extensively. And so I'm gonna just talk about this real quick. Many Black men and boys don't feel valued or loved by the community and by Black women specifically. And this leads to both reckless behavior and suicidal ideations. I'm not going to go deep into it because we don't have a lot of time, but you hear it in the complaints of the men and the whole manosphere thing. This is what that comes out of. A lot of brothers, unfortunately, are traumatized by their early interactions with Black women. And instead of getting therapy, if you will, or just getting over it, like I'm old school. A lot of stuff we just had to get over. But apparently, because of the mate selection process of a lot of the women, a lot of men feel overlooked. They don't have good relationships with the women in their family. I fortunately didn't have those issues growing up. I'm from a different generation, and so I it's hard for me to relate to it from that aspect, but I am aware of it, and I understand that it's a real thing. And so if you don't have positive, again, bad parent, if your mother was not a good parent, you don't have a good relationship with her, you don't have a good relationship with other Black women in your family, and then you out here looking for love and validation from other Black women, and you don't fit the demographic that's being chosen, whether it's because of skin tone or height or money or looks, or you just don't have that charm and charisma. I mean, it can put you in a bad place psychologically, and I have you out here looking for either just being mad at Black women or looking for love outside of your race. And so it is an issue because the men, I mean, it is some men, they won't say it, but it's some men that's hurting, right? And suicide amongst Black boys has been an issue for generations. Like Dr. Amos Wilson was talking about it. And so I just wanted to address that issue and say that this is something that, first of all, the men need to understand that no matter what is going on, if you can maintain and hold on, you can get through it. Right? Trust me, and somebody that's been through a lot of stuff in my life, good and bad. I mean, I understand the Nas quote where he says, I need a new person for this black cloud to follow, because why it's over me is too dark to see tomorrow. I have been there more than once. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to say to the brothers that just to maintain and never forget that regardless of your current circumstance, never forget your eternal nature. Your eternal nature is divine. And just because you're going through something negative now and things are not looking good and you going through stuff does not negate your eternal divine nature. And do your best to tap into that and just seek not either to seek help or to seek help. It don't mean it's professional help or it's not professional help. It's friends or whoever. Never let it get to the point where you thinking about removing yourself from the planet, because we already got people that's trying to remove us from the planet. And I just don't believe in giving them any help. So, Sister Najee, if you had anything to add to this.
Absolutely. I second everything that you're saying. If there's anybody that is experiencing that, or if you know anyone that is experiencing, or you feel they may be experiencing that feeling of it's not worth it to be on earth anymore. It's not worth it to continue in the fight. If you know anybody, make sure that you pass on the word that Brother DC just gave from man to man. And I would offer a free consultation with nature therapy, our nature therapy business, because that is something that we have to deal with. We can't go to white people to try and figure out how to feel better about the fight against white people. It's just not going to work like that. And unfortunately, even when we go to some black people, because they've been trained by white people, they don't fully have the ability to tackle these emotions and process to tackle emotions and then process them so that we can like actually go in a positive direction. You know, it's one thing to go into like a talk therapy session and just, you know, relieve yourself or, you know, saying all of what your problems are, but it's a whole nother thing to now be able to put those problems on the table and say, okay, let's start to deal with it. I think that's where a lot of people, you know, there's the stigma around therapy, yes, but there's a lot of people that are like, look, I tried it and that's not enough. Like, I need solutions. So my nature therapy service is also a psychological first aid service. If you're going through something, I have the ability to help you through just this first aid, just this first moment, getting over these issues so that, you know, it's not a thing of you, like how they say, unaliving yourself or you giving up on the fight. We need every last person, every last conscious being. We need every single brain cell and neuron in this fight. We can't afford to lose anybody, especially those of us that are fighting hard and really having the entire fight, you know, on their back. A lot of black men, I have the utmost of faith in black men to not only help us through this problem, but to then rebuild our civilization. Our African-centered worldview will come to light, not just through, you know, the manifestation part of like, oh, it's just fun to you know, to think about it and to imagine what the next world should be, but it is black men that are going to put their hands together, that are going to go in and grab the iron and go and grab the wood and put these things together. And so the weight of the world truly is on the black man. So my heart forever goes out to black men as a whole and the individual black men in my life. You know, I can see the struggle of like it, and it's always, you know, different kinds of struggles, but it's pretty much always that thing of like the world is shackling you. You have everything within you to be everything that you want to be right now, but you can't just go outside and be your best you. because of, you know, how things are structured around us. And that's frustrating. And I know it's frustrating because I'm a Black woman going through the same experience, but I'm not a Black man. And so I can only imagine, you know, the specific niche of frustration that you all deal with. Yes, Brother DC.
Nah, I was just getting ready to say, you know, I'm not even gonna lie. Like my primary emotion the last few months has just been one of frustration. Very much like what Rakim said, and I think his song was "The Ghetto." He said, "Knowing you God, but you're locked in hell." And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I go outside and I see the condition of our people and see the stuff we're going through, like it's really like hell. Like,
seriously,
like the worst thing you can think of. And one of the biggest bamboozlement that they did for us, as far as I'm concerned, is tell us that hell is hot. I'm like, no, when it's wintertime and you ain't no sun and it's cold and whatnot. Nah, for the Black man, that's just adding to the hell, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
I remember just
turn the lights on
go
at
ahead,
4
sis.
o'clock now. No, just on the piece of, like you were saying earlier, the sun is gone midday already.
Right.
That's our fuel, and it's been taken away. And we don't even have the power to go around and say, nah, we're not doing daylight savings. What? That's dumb. We don't even have the power to be able to override what they've done. That's depression to the utmost degree.
Yeah, and it's like there's so many things that we're battling against, and like I said, I just want brothers to just remember that your ancestors believed in you before you even here, and so use that belief as fuel to even if you don't have if you don't do nothing but just hold on and make it through this period and to see the other side, because one thing about life is always about change. And yes, things can get worse. However, things can get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what it is, things can get better. And I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I have to remind myself of times where I was just like, man, I don't see nothing good happen. And then literally you just wake up one day and somebody tells you something and there's an opportunity there, and before you know it, your whole life has changed. So I just want to tell the brothers that just to hold on and maintain. And I'll be honest, part of me thinking about this, there's a lot of stuff, just seeing brothers in general, but as far as the mental health aspect of it was the football player thing. This brother went from scoring a touchdown in the NFL, which defensive players, that's a special thing, to allegedly deleting himself like 3 days later, because more than likely because him and his white girlfriend got into some type of argument, and then she calls the police and says he has a gun and she think he gonna hurt himself. Well, she just put you in danger right there. Because, oh yeah, my boyfriend who's 6'4", 270 pounds may be having a mental problem. Man, I already know good and well in Texas at that the I saw to say the armed forces. Yeah, they likely to bring out the armed forces and treat you like you the Incredible Hulk. That law enforcement is gonna be scared to death. We're like, hey, what's the situation? Well, there's a big black guy with a gun that's having a mental issue. Come on, man. So I just say this, man. Stop. Man, this is the importance of dealing with a woman from your culture, because she understands your plight and she understands, okay, I need some help. But telling the police this part of it is putting him in more danger. You scared he gonna hurt himself. So all you did was call people to hurt him instead of him hurting himself. And now he not here. So we don't know what happened. We just know what the police said, but we don't know what happened for real because none of us were out there. We don't know what the situation was. We don't know nothing because he ain't here. right? And so, man, that's why I say, yeah, our sisters, can our sisters be a problem? Can they be hard to get along with? Yeah, all of that. But I'm gonna just be honest, man. When the chips are down, yeah, I'd rather have a black woman than any other woman. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if you got you a good black woman is a rider. She gonna ride. If she believe in you, she gonna ride for you, right? Even if she don't have the answers, even if she trying to look ahead and be like, I ain't sure he know what he doing, but he normally know what he doing. So I'm gonna ride with him. You know what I'm saying? Just in case, like, and I'm gonna give him some suggestions if it look like he going in the wrong direction. And as a man, sometimes take the suggestions, you know. But yeah, when you dealing with that European female, you got your whole life ahead of you, and you had just had the best thing happen to you professionally that's happened to you, but because you impregnated her and she said whatever happened in that house, he ain't here no more. And that's just a prime example of how quickly things can go from good to bad when you're dealing with the wrong person. And man, that's all I got. Go ahead, Sister Najee. Go ahead and take over for this.
That was pretty much it. I don't know. You want to move on to the next one altogether?
Yeah, we can move on to the next one because I do want to address this before we close out. I mean, it's been a long show, but yeah, that you can read that.
Sure. Child sexual abuse is still a problem in the community, and the least talked about aspect is older children touching younger children. Now, I just posted today Bishop Maponga speaking on this issue of the families being aware of the disease spreading. So child sexual abuse is something that is, as a disease, mentally is going to now try to continue on, just the same as homosexuality is going to try to continue on. And so the children who have dealt with those issues, being children, they don't necessarily know. It's not necessarily malicious that they're now going to deal with those problems by continuing those actions. So now because somebody touched me, I'm going to go touch somebody and see how that, they're children. Not saying that it's not always this. Sometimes it is malicious. Sometimes you do have little children that are maliciously hurting other children. And that's why you said, the older children touching the younger children thing. That's a real serious problem. We saw that actually manifest a couple weeks ago. I don't remember where it was in the United States, but there was a child that was sexually assaulted on the school bus by an older child. And that's not new. It happens all the time. Yes, brother.
Yeah, the only difference is now is getting outside the homes, and like you said, this stuff is happening in the school, on the school bus, on the playground, and it's tough because, like you said, yeah, these are children, but at the same time, at what age are people responsible for doing the ultimate evil? And that's something I don't think that we have really put on the table to legislate as far as a community.
Right. That's why I'm saying it's a disease, because now it's spreading in such a way that we don't know how to deal with it. Because like I was just saying earlier, we don't really have our systems of therapy. We know ancestrally what we've done, but we don't within America have the system set up of I've suffered trauma. I'm going to go to this place that's going to culturally be able to answer my, give me some solutions for my problems. We don't really have that. And so that means that the children also don't have that. And so now a child that has been abused is not, where do they go when their parent has been abused? And it's just, it's an evil snowball effect. It really is. And like I was saying with brother Bishop Mapongo was saying the brainwashing is so bad, the disease is so bad that now we would rather ignore the problem and instead of dealing with it. So the child that has now suffered through this situation, through this violation, they have nowhere to go. And when they do come to me about it, me as the adult, they're even their parents sometimes. The parents will just ignore it. And then he was saying that it's so bad, and it is. It's so bad that the parents will ignore it and then send them right back to the person that violated them, whether it be the uncle or the auntie or the neighbor or the cousin or the whoever it is. How do you feel comfortable? How are you in your mind okay to now send that child right back to the person that, like, what is really going on? Another clip that you need to get is Baba Amos Wilson. You've got to be out of your mind. We have got to be out of our minds to be existing in this state.
Yeah, I was looking at some Barbara Amos Wilson clips, but it was so much stuff I couldn't narrow anything down. So thank you for that. I got to get that out. I didn't even use all the clips tonight. I wanted to use them all, but we start talking about some serious things, and I ain't feel like playing anything else if it wasn't directly related to what we're talking about. So, this is really an issue. I think it was Brother Gene a long time ago compared it to vampirism. Like, someone gets bitten and then the first thing they want to do is bite somebody, like the movie Sinners recently, right? And it's such a devastating weapon of evil, because once it is let loose in your community, your constructive answers or constructive solutions are few and far between, especially once it gets to the point where it's your children, where children are victimizing other children. But this is a real thing. It's something it's something that's been going on. Like, when you talk to people, you realize it didn't start yesterday, and so it's not going to be solved tomorrow. But it is something that if we don't address it and put it on the table and talk about it, it won't be dealt with ever. And so that's why I just wanted to put that on the table and put that information out. And for the parents, you just have to, like, when you have these gatherings with other children, even if it's children in your family, you got to really know the parents and what type of environment they're raising their children in, so that your children can be safe, not just from them or whoever they have in the household, but be safe from their children. That's how, that's really how scary it is out here. So, Sister Najee, did you have anything to add on this clip, or what did you think about part 2 and the slides that we covered?
Pay attention to the children. We didn't go over the parenting issue, but listening to them is just really the first step. Seriously, like, just because your child is around other children doesn't mean, okay, they're safe now. Like, listen to what those children are saying to each other, because often children will just act like you're not really there. They'll talk with each other as if the parents aren't even in the room, because they've lost that, like how it used to be seen and not heard. They don't even, that's long gone now. Now it's like, if you have a whole bunch of children around each other, they'll just talk. And if you listen, you'll start to pick up on where the children are. And a lot of them, unfortunately, are so far away from the point of innocence that they should be at. A 5-year-old should not be at the same place of innocence as a 16-year-old, right? And unfortunately, we have 5-year-olds that act like they're 16-year-olds, little girls, little boys that act like the music videos. You know, Nas, I know I can be what I want. Like, it's like you said, it's not new, but it is just so simple as listening to the kids and not being afraid of them. I think a lot of people, when we talk about the parenting issue, I think a lot of parents are afraid of their children. They're afraid to hurt their feelings. They're afraid that, you know, they're not going to be my friend anymore and I'm going to lose them. And they're the only, you know, my child is the only person I have in life. And so if I lose them, I'll have nobody. You know, those kinds of thought processing is like, okay, sure, but you're going to lose your child if you're too afraid to parent and rear them. You're not protecting them if you're constantly just trying to be their friend. If you're constantly trying to not step on toes and hurt their feelings. Sometimes feelings need to be hurt. Yeah, I think a lot of times the parents are afraid to step up and be like, hey, you know, don't say that, don't do that. Especially if you're afraid of your child, you definitely gonna be afraid of other people's children. And that's, you know, kind of the culture it is now. Don't say nothing to my child. You know, that's gotta go.
Yeah. I lost my thought. I had a thought with what you said about being afraid of the children, but I just totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think this was a needed discussion, and we'll probably do later, or maybe probably next year, end up doing a part 3, because I think that we broached a lot of ground that I don't think other people would talk about. And I think for at least from what I've seen, the comments, that people really appreciated this aspect of the discussion. So just give them your information again, sister, so we can get ready to close out.
No problem. Check out my website, realkkkkk.com. I did make an offer. I'll make it again. I'm not bluffing. I'm not welling. If you are experiencing, or you know someone who is experiencing, or you think that someone may be experiencing feelings of hopelessness, culturally, spiritually, just hopeless in that sense, and you want to give them the ability to nurture themselves, I offer virtual nature therapy, which can, you know, has a background in therapeutic horticulture as well as psychological first aid. Those services you can research more into at my other website, Muntu Meadows, MUNTU, Muntu, just like Bantu, Muntu Meadows, MEADOWS. And true to my word, I said free consultation to anybody that you know, and gift the service, because I know everybody look when you come on and you ask, so how you doing, and everybody's like, because the truth of the matter is we're not doing well as a people. And so no, I can't come on here and say, yeah, everything is great, because it's not. Things are not great, especially not behind enemy lines where the sun has been snatched away. You know, so to be honest and have those conversations, I will gladly offer my services to anybody that is a listener of Straight Black Love Talk. You can also reach me at Nefernaj, NFRNAJ, on Instagram and Twitch and Rumble. And my Cashapp is $Nefer, NEFER, Najay, NAJAI. And that's all. Asante Sana.
All right, sister. Again, I'm DC Radical 1. You can follow me on Instagram, DC.Radical1. On Twitter, DC_Radical_ONE. OTW2 at DC Radical 1. And you can donate via Cash App, $DC Radical 1, or via Zelle at DC.Radical_1 at protonmail.com. So we thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to go back, if you didn't, and check out part 1 of Taboo Topics. And we'll be on. I'm planning to come on next week, but it'll be on a different day. So it'll probably we'll probably be on Monday and Wednesday. But when I'll let people know via Instagram and via Telegram. I'll let you all know what the plans are for next week because of course, we have the unholy days. And I do plan to be celebrating Umoja Karamu on Friday. So, like I said, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for your support. And, let people know about SBL Talk because we're trying to build something into next year to make it bigger and better and really address the issues that no one else wants to address. So with that, brothers and sisters, thank you all for your support. And with that, I say a BB for ODA and straight black pride.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cashapp is $DC Radical 1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA